Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land.
Every problem we have with poverty could be solved if we just chose to have a war on poverty and not killing for profit. Don't even need any more money. And we have to connect these issues. We can't fight in our silos anymore. I'm just concerned about black folk, but I'm not concerned about militarism. You're concerned about black folk, you gotta be concerned about militarism. And vice versa.
Dr. King's challenge to militarism and the war economy still applies today. The United States maintains by far the biggest military in the world in terms of spending and is the world's biggest arms dealer. Militarism and the war economy subvert democracy. They undermine law, promote tyranny, and fuel fanaticism. The war economy and militarism sickens and impoverishes whole populations. They over-police communities, build more prisons, destroy and incarcerate black, brown, white, and indigenous people. Militarism ravages nature and devastates the environment. Militarism creates refugees, criminalizes people for trying to care for their families, and snatches children away from their parents. So, it is time for us to turn this around. It is time for us to declare that war is immoral. That war doesn't protect our freedom. That war promotes racism, misogyny, homophobia, and xenophobia. That war causes ecological devastation. That war keeps us poor. It is time to shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down.
I carry a grave conviction in my core that there can be no true economic, racial, gender liberation without addressing the militarism that is strangling the morality and empathy out of our society. For decades, we have been lulled into complacency and inattention as our drones have obliterated weddings, funerals, religious ceremonies, ordinary homes, and ordinary people. It is no mistake that we are waging war in at least 7 countries, and all of them are mostly impoverished black, brown, and Muslim countries. The same systems that shame and dehumanize us based on our skin color and our documentation status or bank account here want us to believe that those injustices have nothing to do with us. They want us to believe the lie that the precious lives of our soldiers are being spent for the protection of our freedoms. But I spent a year witnessing the bravery and beauty of the Afghan people. Men and women, fathers and mothers risking their lives and their families to overcome oppressive organizations that we funded and enabled. I cannot forget their faces. This is a racial justice issue. This is a gender justice issue. This is an economic justice issue. We begrudge the poor for the pennies we give them to eat and survive, but cheer for the nearly $600 billion annually we spend on defense. The military-industrial complex is literally corporate greed weaponized. The United States government is the largest weapons dealer in the world and the largest user of those weapons. From the militarized equipment in which our police forces and federal agencies are clad, to the large percent of current and former soldiers conditioned for war and then hired to occupy our streets to keep peace, is it any wonder that our neighborhoods are treated like combat zones and our neighbors treated like combatants. From the toxic masculinity that objectifies our bodies as nothing more than weapons or toys, to the nationalism that tears us away from the true patriotism that is demanding that America live up to the dream that it has always been. These wars are immoral. Profiting off of killing is immoral. It is time to stand up, and we won't be silent anymore.
We are a nonviolent, an intergenerational, a multiracial, interreligious army of the poor that is rising up to break every chain of racism, every chain of poverty, every chain of ecological devastation, and every chain of violence and militarism. Break every chain. Break every chain. Break every chain.
And now it's time to go to work. If you're scared, you better tell somebody to help you, because we intend to fight the powers and change poverty and racism until this nation does what it promises, to establish justice for everybody. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Gonna let nobody turn me around. We're gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, holding up the freedom.
June 23rd, 2018, after 40 days of action, 40 days of changing the narrative, 40 days of civil disobedience, over 3,000 people across this nation engaging in civil disobedience in 40 states around this agenda, we declare the 23rd as a day of resurrection and a day of redemption.